It's been an interesting year. So I'm going to focus more of it on the actual show itself.
We've had lots of good episodes, and the feedback I got from some of the people was just overwhelming. Like, love how people enjoy it and how they can relate to some of the stories that we've shared.
It feels so good to not feel alone. I'm so grateful for the men we've had on this show who have been willing to share. We've had so many good episodes with men that are willing to dive deep, or as my wife would say, swim in the deep end. And that's really what we want to do here is we're here to swim in the deep end together, and nobody's going to drown. We've had so many different subjects. We've had so many different things come up, different guests who have different perspectives on things. And if there's one thing I've taken from this last year, it's that I just feel so grateful that I've had the opportunity to speak to strangers so honestly and so sincerely.
Yeah, there's people that the first time we met was
2 minutes before we started recording. But it's been such a gift, and it's such a blessing that and I hope the guests we've had feel the same. Welcome back to the Quiet Riot Show, everybody.
Yay!
We're here. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
We're celebrating.
We are celebrating. It's been a year.
Actually, yeah, pretty much 1 year.
Has it been a year?
This episode is coming out.
I just go based on what you tell me. So.
Yeah, it is. It's been 1 year. It's Canada Day as well. So when this episode comes out, the thing. Yeah, we're pre-recording, but
right.
But it's Canada Day today when you're listening to this. And if you're listening to it after Canada Day, then that was yesterday or 2 days ago or whatever.
Well, then screw you for being late by a day.
Exactly. But yeah, so we're celebrating, I guess, two things. It's so funny thing is, I know we had a little side chat about the training that I've taken, and so basically I just learned a little bit about Indigenous, culture, and I don't want to get into too much about that because this show's not about that. But the one thing that we talked about in the past, some people have spoken up that we shouldn't be celebrating Canada Day. And to me, Canada Day, it's so much it's such an important holiday because I immigrated here. And, I don't celebrate how Canada was created or what happened in the past. I celebrate for a simple fact that I'm allowed to be here. And
this is your home.
This is my new home, and I've built a family, and I'm, I feel successful, in life. We're healthy. We have 2 great kids, a roof over our head, good jobs. So I'm thankful that I can be in a safe country where they're really, even though whatever the government's doing bullshit, it sucks, but there's no wars, there's no hunger. We're me and my family. Yeah, we're doing fine. I have the opportunities that I've created for myself or however it happened, but I feel very happy and lucky that I'm here, and that's why I celebrate Canada Day. So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and so it was a good discussion that we had, and it was. I actually got a nice response from some people too over my comments, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, 1 year, holy shit, what a crazy year!
Yeah,
it started with it started you and I kind of just hanging out, and the idea was hey, I really want to do this, and I needed somebody. A good co-host or somebody that
stuck with me instead.
Well, and I think you're an excellent addition to this show because you have struggles, you've had struggles,
of course,
and you know how to deal with them. With some of them, sometimes you don't, but you're still here with us, and you've managed to get through those struggles. So, and I feel comfortable opening up to you, and you open up to me, so we've kind of clicked right there, and I was like, hey, this would be a great opportunity to see each other every once in a little more often, too, right? It's a good way for us to hang out. It's good for our mental health.
It forces us to not get lost in the busyness of life, which it always is, and actually take time for each other, and
that's right,
to do this. And because of the way we speak on this show and this kind of the subject matter, a lot of it is actually similar to what you and I would talk about if we were sitting around anyways.
Exactly.
Like it kind of feels sort of natural, especially when it's just the two of us.
Yeah.
And so it just feels like we're hanging out.
Well, the last 10 minutes have been quite silent. We didn't say much to each other because it's like, wait for the show.
I know. So it's so stupid, but it's just
it is, but it's like,
if we're here to record, then like I'll just shut my fucking mouth until the mics are on.
Yeah,
and then we'll
exactly.
Just talk.
Yeah, because like it feels so weird when you like talk about certain things, like, oh, this will be great for the show, and then you try to do it, but it's not as natural.
Yeah.
The reaction isn't as like, oh, really? It's like, I heard this story already.
Yeah, I don't like doing that.
That's right. Yeah, so like that's why like the 10 minutes like you're having a smoke and just like, hey, how's things? Like just small talk,
like, total small talk. Yeah. Like, oh, it's hot outside.
It's like we first met for the first time, right? It's like we have this awkward silence.
That's our pre-show routine.
Yeah.
Because make a drink, don't say anything, and then hit the mics.
Hit the record button and let's go. And this is why this show, I usually tell people that it's quite raw. Like there's no preparation. There's no
plan
script.
Much. No, we will plan a bit of a subject matter, a little, and then if we have guests, we kind of often focus on them, obviously, because they're here to do that. But like, we may have a sort of a subject in mind going into that, which also we're not stuck to. Like, no, if that doesn't come out, then if something else shows up, then something else shows up.
Well, we've had guests that talked about, like, we invited them for one reason, and they're like, oh, and I can talk about this and this and this. We're like, holy shit,
right?
This is awesome.
Like we want it to be sort of as free flowing as it can.
Yeah. No, so we're gonna. I guess this episode is gonna be kind of reflecting maybe on some of our guests and just maybe some of the future plans we can talk about a little bit. Sure. And but yeah, so before we dig
let's
into
do that in like the later half of the show.
Yeah,
because I want to hear this. You're fucking keeping me.
Yeah.
Story,
so yeah,
but let's do the check-in first.
Why don't you go first?
Sure.
And I'll do my check-in, and I'll roll into my my weekend. Yeah.
I think today. Let's just use today. I think today I'm a 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good one for you. It's good.
Yeah. For me, it's good to get back into that those numbers. I think that like the last couple of days actually I've been a 7.
Okay.
I had a pretty chill weekend. Hung out with some friends. Hung out with my wife. My daughter was off at a sleepover, so
nice.
We had some time to ourselves. I was a little fucking lazier than I should have been probably today.
You need to have lazy days.
I had all these intentions of doing things, and I woke up and I was just like, nah, not today.
I'm sure your date doesn't end, after the show.
It ends when I fall asleep. But like
exactly.
But still, those things I wanted to tackle, I did not do, and I'm not going to do them today.
It'll be there tomorrow.
It's exactly right. Like it's just I still have to do that. Okay,
that's good.
But in place of that, like, me and Rachel spent some time together, and we talked a bunch, and we chatted about our house and our plans and our future. Like, had we have both just been doing all those tasks we wanted to get done, that wouldn't have happened. And
that's
so
right.
I'll take that all day long. Like, am I behind? Is she behind on something? So what? Like, fucking do it tomorrow. Like,
the work will wait for you.
Yeah,
it'll be
there.
It's
not. No one's gonna do that shit for me. So
no, exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I would say today I'm a 7, and I'm hanging out with you now. Like, it's been a good day.
Awesome.
Yeah. How about you?
I'm
about to get the story.
I'm gonna go with 6.5.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, compared to last time, I think I was an 8.
Yeah. You were in the clouds last time, but reality never fails to show up.
So we recorded that episode 2 weeks ago, and I was like just off my my trip, right? Like I was very happy, and everything was great. The very next day, I had such a shitty day, and it was just like I woke up in a miserable mood, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I was so happy yesterday. But I don't know what happened, but whatever, it's fine. Just kind of went on with my day, and everything was good. And, later that week, I'm taking a shower, and, I don't really necessarily check myself every time I take a shower, but like,
check the boys.
I checked the boys, and it kind of felt weird.
Ew.
and I was fucking freaking out. So it was like 11 o'clock in the evening. My wife's passed out. I'm like, hey, wake her up. Come here. You got to check it out. Like, you got to see. And, you know, like, she's like half asleep and like trying to feel my testicles. And, you know.
It's a weird way to
I know.
try and get some action. But all right.
Right, but that's the thing. Like, so she's like, I don't know. They seem fine. I'm like, fuck. Like, I feel a lump, you know. And so, like, that night was just a write-off. Like, I couldn't
we
sleep.
talked
And
the next day.
Yeah, so that was a Tuesday, and then I called you on Wednesday.
Yeah, we talked on Wednesday. Yeah,
and so I just had to talk to somebody about this, right? And they didn't really share that with my coworkers or nothing. I didn't want to necessarily. And yeah, I was just like, you know, I did the horrible thing and Googled shit.
I fucking told you not to do that.
And the thing is, the first thing I Googled was positive. I'm like, okay, let's see what else is there.
You should have just stopped there.
But yeah, so I'm like, you know, the next day, fuck it, I gotta call the doctor and let's just go get checked out, right? So it was a hell of a week. Like, my appointment was on Friday, so I found out Tuesday evening, and Friday was my appointment. So those 3 days 3 days were just horrible. Like, on the Wednesday, I came home, I was miserable, I was just like worried and like trying to keep my mind busy, but I wasn't really like doing anything useful or productive.
Yeah. Well, it's so distracting.
Yeah.
Like, how? Yeah.
The Thursday, I remember I just came home and I was just exhausted and tired because I haven't really slept for the last 2 days. And so I slept on the couch till like, I think it was, my wife got me up at like 6:30, 7, and you know, she's like, "Can you cut the grass?" I'm like, "No, like I'm just going to bed."
Yeah.
Like, I passed out on the couch, and then I'm just like, "No, I need to shower. I need to go to bed." And then next day, I went to the doctors, and
how did that go? Because I have not had a doctor touch my junk except during my vasectomy stuff. Yeah. That was the first time like that I could remember having someone do that. So
I mean, it's as awkward as it can get, right? Like the funniest part was they're like, okay, yeah, like the room's ready, go to room blah blah blah, right? And I walk in, and then so my doctor is a male. And then I walk in,
which
and
I think I'd rather do.
Yeah. But I walk in, and there's this really good-looking female. And she's like,
no.
And I'm like, looking at the number. Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Am I on the wrong
And she's
room?
like, hi, like, Tom? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I'm helping out Dr. So-and-so. I'm like,
could you not?
Fuck. And she was really good-looking. But not that that would do anything at this point, because you're there for a really shitty reason, right? But still, I'm just like, oh no, like. So right away, like, I think my anxiety like bumped up a little bit, you know, went up a notch. And so she's like, yeah, I'm, you know, like finishing my residency, blah blah blah, and like helping out. I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah, you might come in and like do the exam, or if you're comfortable, I can do the exam, or like, you know, like, but let's just, you know, let's talk. What are you here for?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I told her and everything. She's like, okay, hop on the table. Let's take your blood pressure. She's like, it's a little bit higher. I'm like, yeah, like, you know.
You think?
So my blood pressure probably went up when I saw that it's a female doctor too. So that added to it.
Help.
So she's like, yeah, just monitor it, you know, and this and that. And so she's like, so do you feel comfortable? I'm like, look, it's awkward already. Just tell me what to do, you know. She's like, well, you can do it standing up, or you can sit down, lie down, like on the. I was like, just tell me what to do. She's like, okay, drop your pants. I'm like, all right. Perfect. So I just like went for it, you know. And I was just like, do you want to take them off, or just like, you know, like just down to the knees, or like
what are we doing here?
She's like, just down to your ankles, just it's fine, you know. So so then, you know, she obviously went in right away, like checked for like there's a couple tubes that kind of go in that area where between your groin and your leg.
Okay.
And she pressed on it. She told me to cough, and she was checking for hernia, because it could be related to hernia, right? So that was what she was checking first. So she says, no, everything's good. So then she went into like, you know, obviously touching everything, and then She's every time like she had to squeeze it a little bit. She's like, sorry. I'm like, no, it's fine. Like I think I had to say it 5 times. Like it's fine. She was very professional. Obviously, like checked it out. She's like, yeah, I feel the lump. It's soft, and so they. She kind of made some notes, and I was just like, okay, so
like you want to fucking tell me something now?
And that's when the doctor walks in. Okay, so he comes in, and my pants were already up. And so they're talking, and they're using these fucking terms that I'm like, I have no clue what they're saying.
Probably better that way.
It probably is. And then, but yeah, so my doctor was like, do you mind if I check? I'm like, go for it.
Go get everybody. Who's in the waiting room?
Next. You guys want to take a look? And then, so he actually wanted me to lie down, and he did the test that way. And before I continue, does one of your testicles hang lower than the other one? Yeah. So, and I already
I have one that's bigger than the other.
Okay, so I already forgot why it's that, but like apparently that's a normal thing.
Okay,
like
I've always had one that's bigger.
Yeah,
than the other.
Well, and like I always know, the left one is always lower than the right one.
Yeah.
And he said, I wish I had remembered. I think I'm gonna ask him next time when he calls, and just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
But so there's a reason. Apparently, most men have their left nut lower than the right one. So if you guys are listening to the show, check your nut, see if the left.
I gotta check
and let us know. Like I'm just really curious.
The left one's lower.
Yeah, the left one's supposed to be lower than the right one, and there's a reason for it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna check.
So he was one of those, like he's checking. He's like, oh, do you know why one of the testicles is lower? And she's like, no, I don't know. And then he said it's like, I'm like, I actually wanted to know that too. I thought I was the only one. Yeah,
my nuts. Fuck, tell me.
Yeah, I thought I was the only one, but like apparently it's very common.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So
he checked it, and he says, there's a lump, and then he's like, fine, put your pants back on, and so he explained to me. So there's 3 types of tumors that could be like it's a benign tumor basically that I have.
Thank fucking goodness.
Yeah. So he said if it was cancer, it would be hard and it would be very painful.
Okay.
To touch, to press, to whatever. Basically anything you would try to touch it and it would hurt. And it would be hard. So the way I described it to them, the way it feels, I was like, if you had like, those udon noodles?
Yeah.
And like you take like a small handful and you kind of just bunch them up.
Okay.
And that's what this felt like. And then he's like, you described it very well. Like, so it is a little growth, basically. They're still going to send me for ultrasound. I'm waiting for them to call me when the appointment is. So I don't know yet, but he says I shouldn't be worried about it, but just to be safe. They even they didn't add many details into the request for the ultrasound. They just said they need to ultrasound the testicles. And then they kind of push that forward a little bit faster.
I would assume that's a urgency.
Yeah. And so, but he says there's 3 types, and the one that I have, I forget the terms. He says this is probably what you have, which is very common. It's no issues. You have to keep checking and making sure that it doesn't get painful or harder. But like it's.
Does it get bigger?
He said it shouldn't.
Like okay.
Yeah, but we have to keep checking it, and I never actually asked him if it's something that needs to be removed or not, but that's something we're going to go over.
You don't need it. Just get rid of the nut.
Yeah, right? Give me some. We're actually joking about it. Like, get me fake one, something that vibrates. I hook it up to my phone, right? Hey, guys, check it out.
No, but I think, I don't know. It's not like you intend to use your nuts.
No,
for
I got a vasectomy already. So
yeah, we've done that. Yeah. So, just take what doesn't matter.
Put a couple fake ones because I think that would be weird not to have.
Would you want a fake one? Would you want a fake one in there?
I think so. I don't know how the penis would look like.
Do you remember? Like we had Brandon on early on the show. Did he get a fake one?
I can't remember. I believe so. I think he got.
I can't remember.
Sorry, we shouldn't say fake one. It's a prostatic nut.
It's a fake nut. Gives a shit. It's a fake nut. It's a ball. It's a fake
ball.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Well, that's something that
I'm gonna ask him.
Yeah, we should ask him
for our year in review.
That's right. But yeah, so that was.
So how do you feel now? Obviously, it's not settled.
It's not settled, but
he settled you a little bit with his comments and his exam, but it's not over. It's
not over, but definitely felt good. And right after the doctor's appointment, I went out to Otter Falls and hung out with my
you
buddy.
had a fucking weekend.
Yeah, I went fishing. It was just fucking fantastic.
Oh, did you do any fishing?
Yeah.
When I talked to you, it didn't look like any fishing was happening.
No, fishing is always Saturday morning. Friday we go out.
Okay.
Usually we go out and do some boating, but my buddy had just a fucking ACL surgery, and so he's literally headed on Wednesday, and like we're just crushing beers now. In his
was that the guy I saw on the camera?
Could be
the guy who owns the place.
Yes, yeah.
The place is awesome, by the way.
Shout out to Mark. Yeah, like fucking he built this giant shop, and he's got like a second layer of, he built a ramp where he can drive up all the snowmobiles. I think there was 5 or 6 snowmobiles up there. Like
crazy.
And he still has a loft on top.
That's awesome.
So fantastic shop, yeah. So yeah, it was a great weekend. It's just what I needed. And then, Sunday was really nice. Father's Day, we went to a basketball game with the family. It was really nice, and just a good end to like a really shitty week. Yeah. And then work just got busy, whatever. And then so this weekend we went out to the lake.
Sweet.
I got flooded while I was in Slovakia, so I'm still working on it.
Okay.
And
is the water stopping?
Yeah, water is good. Like it fucking rained. Like it's been raining all the time, so it's dry now, which is really nice. And so I'm fixing it on the inside. I still needed to putty up a bunch of things, and so I ran out of putty.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go drive to Stonewall. That was the closest hardware store, so they had it. I checked it. They had it in store. I'm like, perfect. It's like a half an hour drive.
Yeah.
Driving back, the road was. I took the back roads, like the dirt roads, because it's just a little bit closer than going back out to the highway. Fucking deer jumps out.
Oh fuck. That's what.
5 feet.
Deer hit.
Yeah, 5 feet in front of my fucking truck. Jumps out. I was driving maybe 6. I thought I was driving about 80.
Yeah.
But the guy that saw it, he's like, no, like if you were driving 80, the damage would be way worse.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I'm thinking probably 67. The road was shitty, so he couldn't drive any faster anyways. And so what happened, because the road was so bad on the left, so I was heading north, so I was driving on the left side of the road. Yeah. Because there was 2 tracks.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They were smooth, right? A vehicle was approaching, so I moved over to the right side where there was ruts and fucking just, great Manitoba roads. Yeah. And as I moved over, I must have startled the deer, and just fucking jumps out, fucking right away. I see the legs, fell, I ran it over. Yeah. And just kind of rolled to the side into the ditch. And I was like, I felt horrible for the deer, because I was like,
was it dead?
Oh, yeah. It was twitching, leg was broken. Like, I have pictures and everything. Okay. Yeah.
But it was dead?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was twitching. I saw it twitching, and then like 5 minutes later, like you could see, like it was just
okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, so it didn't. I
always worry about that. I'm like, if I ever hit a deer but it didn't die, like I gotta kill it. Right. What the fuck am I gonna kill it with? Like,
run it over, back up.
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
No, this was dead, and
oh shit.
Yeah, like so I'm in the middle of nowhere. Like there's no cell service.
Yeah.
So this guy was approaching, he saw me. So I'm like, shit, I'm looking at the front of the vehicle. I can see like I hit the rad. I ended up puncturing it. So I'm like, oh fuck, great, I can't drive
Stuck
it.
There, yeah.
And behind him, there was a guy with a tractor that was coming, and he's like, hey, I'm just like the next driveway to the left. Come on in, use my phone. I'm like, oh, thank God, super nice guy. I've got to bring him next week. I'm gonna stop by and bring him like a gas card, because he drove me back to the lake.
Oh, nice, awesome, good.
But yeah, so I had to call the towing company. So here's my Saturday where I'm supposed to be. I was just like, oh, perfect. I'll get back. I'll start the smoker. I'll start my wings. Finish up the putty. Have some drinks. Now, 3-4 hours later, I'm back. So that was my weekend, and so the vehicle is now in fucking, I don't know, Warren, and got to call and get it all figured out, and it's just like, fucking hassle. Like
that sucks.
Yeah. It's just like that's why I'm like a 6.5.
Hey, at least
that was a long check-in.
At least you're a 6. Yeah, right. And that's the check-in. Jeez, that's crazy. Well, I mean, at least that's all that happened.
Yeah.
Like, a wrecked vehicle's fine. You're fine. So
at the end of the day,
it's just a vehicle.
Exactly. No airbags went off. Like I said, it wasn't driving fast, and it's shitty, but whatever. Hopefully, I just really hope it's not going to take like 2-3 months to get it fixed, because how shit's going in Manitoba right now.
Yeah, that hopefully it doesn't. I mean, they'll just have to tow it somewhere.
Yeah, I know. I already have couple places that I have a couple connections there where they can.
Oh, cool.
They
Good.
can.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they can kind of push that forward a little bit.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm definitely not taking it back to Birchwood Collision Center. I don't give a shit about saying it out loud because they did a horrible job. So
No,
fuck
I
'em.
can give you some suggestions because
Yeah.
I know that world very, very, very well.
Like I said, I have couple. So
Yeah.
one is
Yeah.
you know who, and
Yeah.
the second one is you.
Fair enough. Yeah,
So
we'll
I'm
find
gonna-
we'll find a good spot
Yeah.
for it. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Holy jeez. That's quite the check-in.
So and I was I actually took my laptop out to the lake because I was going to do some work, and I'm like, no.
That's over.
I came back, I sat down, I'm like, I need a drink, and like I just had some
Yeah.
drinks. I'm like, you know what, I just need to not think about.
Did you at
work.
least have two? I guess you had the other car out there as well.
Nope, we had to call my in-laws. And
Oh,
like,
they had to come
hey,
pick you up.
what are you guys doing in the morning? They're like, why? Oh, do you guys want to come out and bring 2 vehicles and we leave one here? So they did. Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
No, so luckily they have 2 vehicles and they don't necessarily need 2 vehicles all the
Yeah.
time. So
That helps.
Yeah,
Good.
for sure. So yeah,
Well, let's take a little.
yeah.
Let's take a little break and
Breather.
then talk about our 1 year in review.
let's do it.
Hey, Tommy. Among all the episodes we've recorded, there's one common theme, and that's getting therapy. We've talked about it lots.
Many times.
You
Yep,
had a
yep.
really tough time making that first phone call. I had a tough time making that first phone call. I didn't even know if the person I was going to see was the right person, but you got to just try. Thank goodness we have a sponsor that makes it way easier now. BetterHelp has an online platform that allows you to fill out a questionnaire. They connect you with a therapist, and you get to communicate with them however you want. So whether that's text messaging, that's emails, that's through their app, that's video chats, you get all those options, and it makes it way less scary to be connected with someone. And if you're not into the person you talk to, they'll sign you another one right away. I've gotten assigned mine already, and I can't wait to use it. Like, by the time you hear this, I will have had my first session, and I'm super pumped to talk about it on the show.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it, and like it's very easy to sign up. It took us maybe 5 minutes to sign up, and you answer just simple questions, and next thing you know, you got a message that you will be paired up with a therapist, and within the same day, we got the therapist already, the name and a message from them, and we were able to communicate with them. So it's extremely easy. So please go to BetterHelp.com. Yeah, that's the thing. BetterHelp.com/Quiet Riot Show, and you get to also enjoy 10% off for your first month if you sign up using this link. So again, right here, I'm going to be doing it from here. Yeah, it's BetterHelp.
Am I screwing it up?
.com/Quiet Riot Show. Yeah, sign up today, and you're not going to regret it because I'm already enjoying it. Just the fact that we connected with a therapist.
Me too, man.
Thank you to BetterHelp for supporting this podcast.
Okay, it's been a year.
It's been a year.
We've been doing this for 1 year.
Yep.
Almost to the day. Oh, right.
That's okay.
Like, people don't know anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't have a booze sponsor, which
yeah.
probably isn't a good thing anyway.
Well,
so.
I mean, if we get a booze sponsor, we'll more than happy to present it on this show. So if you want to sponsor this show,
right.
we're open. We need sponsors.
Men's Mental Health Show brought to you by whiskey.
Yeah. Cheers.
So it's been a year. It's been an interesting year. So I'm going to focus more of it on the actual show itself.
Yeah,
not
like
my year, because I don't want to do a year in review of my life. So let's talk about the show.
We've had lots of good episodes, and the feedback I got from some of the people was just overwhelming. Like, love how people enjoy it and how they can relate to some of the stories that we've shared.
Yeah, we get so nobody's ever told me anything bad.
No, and I've gotten some constructive criticism.
Yeah, that's fine.
And that's very good because obviously we're not professional podcasters. We're not professional health.
At this point,
I
mean, a semi-professional podcaster.
yeah. Well, I mean, and you have a history of being in front of the mic a lot longer than myself. So sure, maybe call yourself whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't care. But I just want people to keep listening. So.
Yeah. No, but at the end of the day, I'm not doing this for fame. I'm not doing this for anything that like to make money or anything. It's these episodes that we've done is a therapy itself for myself and for you
and for me.
Yeah.
I say it every episode. So
and that's amazing. Like I know when we pre-record a bunch of episodes and we don't record for a long time, like I already need to get together and just kind of do this because at the end of the day, that's what therapy is. That's what you go and talk about your problems, right?
Yeah.
And we've mentioned how like doing a group therapy is something that helps you realize sometimes that. Well, I'm not the only one, or like my situation isn't as bad.
It feels so good to not feel alone. Yeah, in a struggle,
and that's just it. Like having guests, whether in person or on Zoom, it was just so nice to hear. Like, holy shit! Like, I was always picturing myself. Okay, what would I have done if I went through that? Yeah. Right? Or what did I do when it was something similar?
Well, I think like I'm so grateful for the men we've had on this show who have been willing to share. Mm-hmm. Like we've had so many good episodes with men that like are willing to dive deep, or as my wife would say, swim in the deep end. Yeah. And like that's really what we want to do here is like we're here to swim in the deep end together, and nobody's gonna drown. Like we're okay, and like we've had so many different subjects, we've had so many different things come up, different guests who have different perspectives on things, and like if there's one thing I've taken from this last year, it's that like I just feel so grateful that I've had the opportunity to speak to not just you all the time. Like you're my friend, so like we're gonna talk anyways. But like I've had the opportunity to speak to strangers so honestly and so like sincerely. Yeah, there's people that the first time we met was 2 minutes before we started recording. Well, 10 because you're never ready, but. But no, it's been like such a gift, and like it's such a blessing that like, and I hope the guests we've had feel the same. Like, I think they do because they always say nice things coming out of here, and we actually keep in touch. Yeah. Well, we're supposed to be going back on the Men's Health Unscripted show. Guys. Yeah. No, I fucking love those guys. Yeah. So I hope sometimes in July, hopefully. So, what are some of your highlights from the last year? If we want to call them highlights. Yeah, let's go through it. Mine was, I really enjoyed the episode with Tyler Carr. Tyler is first of all, he's such a nice guy to be around. I love that guy. And that was a really good episode because I don't know anyone that talked about similar situation that he was in from growing up, from being a teenager, so it was just a nice eye-opening and just new information to hear his story from his perspective, right? Because there's a lot of stigma, I guess not now, but there used to be a lot of stigma against gay men. Yeah. So that was a really good episode. Well, they're still men. Yeah, exactly. In fact, sometimes I wonder if they're not manlier than we are. I mean, they love men so much. They do, and they're all in great shape. They work out. Like, man, I'm struggling to hit the gym. Tyler's episode was great. I mean, it was nice to have an opportunity. Like, I've known Tyler for years. Yeah. And for me, it was great sitting in that room having a different type of conversation with him than I ever had. Yeah. Hearing more about his life and his story and his journey. And like, it's just what we're doing is hearing about people's journeys. That's right. And like, I really enjoyed Brandon. Brandon was great. Yeah, he was. That was more focused on. So Brandon was early on. Yeah. And it was a lot about. We talked a lot about his battle with testicular cancer, and family. Like, he's got a young family. Yeah. They're doing amazing, by the way. Yeah, like I chatted with him. So actually, he was one of them that I reached out to him as well when I found a little lump on my testicle because I'm just Did you guys talk a little bit? Yeah, we chatted. Awesome. So, and then I also kind of followed up like, hey, how you doing? What else is new? And he says,
great. I mean, they were going through some rainy season now, but other than that, he says they're doing great. So it's amazing. I'm happy for them.
Yeah, him and his wife had a mission to move their family down to Florida.
Yeah.
And they did it, and it took them years of diligent planning and manifesting that and like working towards that, and they did it. And like, I was just so fucking proud as a friend, as another man, as a father. Like, I'm so proud of him for what he's accomplished. And like, that was a good one. I liked his episode a lot. It was very eye-opening to me. He did the other podcast I used to do. That's how I met him the first time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I was way too inebriated and don't remember any of it. Mm-hmm. That show was not a serious show for the record. No. So, but I remembered having met him.
People tried to make it serious, and then you always ruined it.
Yeah. I think probably there would be some truth there.
That was a fun show.
Brandon's was great. Lee Gorin was a highlight for me.
That was hearing a pro hockey player talk the way Lee does I think it's very rare.
Yeah, and I think it was just cool. To me, it was so interesting because he's quite a bit older than us. Yeah. And we haven't had a ton of guests on that are that much older than us. So we've had like Glenn and we've had Lee and like really that's the majority of the older crowd.
That's right, yeah.
And it's so interesting to me as a man to hear the wisdom of an older man because they've experienced more. You just have had more experience. So like everything you know and say comes from a more experienced point of view.
Yeah.
And so like I love Lee's. I think I hate picking favorites.
Yeah,
it's like such a weird.
They were all good, but it was a highlight for you.
But like, that one for me was a bit of a highlight.
Yeah,
and that was interesting, and so I enjoyed that. Glenn was super early on. Glenn Damon.
Yeah,
he came on. It's actually probably time to get him back.
Probably,
it's been a year. He was our first. Was he our first guest?
He was one of the first ones. It might have been the first.
He was
guest,
in the first couple.
He might have been the first guest. Yeah,
and
he actually. So he was here the other day and. He's like, hey, man.
You do some like work with him outside of
And he's like, hey, do you still want me to coach you? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, buddy. You're putting some weight on. I'm like, yeah, I know, man. Like, and that's what I love about him. He's honest and like, I need people like that in my life, right? So,
well, if one man can't tell another man to get his shit together, like
exactly,
can.
Yeah, for sure. So
Glenn's was great.
Yeah.
Terrence was amazing. What
Uncle Terry, he's great.
Uncle Terry, I
need
love
to get him on as well.
So much to the depths of my soul. He's such a great friend of mine. But
he's went through some hard times.
He's had a hard life.
Yeah,
and like continues to have a life that is challenging. And so that episode was inspiring, heartbreaking.
Yeah,
it really was a roller coaster. That one, that was a tough one
for sure.
Some of them I come out feeling like I just ran a marathon. That was one of them.
It's definitely draining.
Yeah,
for sure.
When you leave it all out, to speak honestly, that comes down to that. It's
going to be a heavy episode, and
it's hard. And
there is an after effect for it.
Yeah, for sure. That one I felt for days after.
Yeah.
Some of them it's an hour. Some of them I actually come out feeling better. Yeah. What's his name from New York there?
Oh, Carlo. Yeah.
I came out of that one feeling fucking all amped up and excited.
No, actually,
which is like another story. Like, what a beautiful story!
And that's another thing is like
this fucking guy who's in New York
and he reached out to us. Like, it's amazing that somebody found our podcast and found it interesting enough to reach out, like saying, hey, I'd love to be a guest to tell you my story.
Yeah, and like he had a cool fucking story and he really knew how to tell it, and like it's part of what he does. And so like he's refined that, he's gotten good at that. But so much honesty and so much so much optimism. And I think I struggle with optimism. That's a hard thing for me.
It is. I think it's hard for a lot of people, and including me. I do try to look at the positive side of shit that happens around us. Yeah. But it's just like the news. It's hard. It's always hard. Easier to follow the negative than the positive, right? Yeah. So it really have to force yourself.
Talking to him was really inspiring for me. I've seen some message go back and forth with him.
Yeah,
lately,
yeah.
So I don't know. I don't read them very often.
Yeah, so he just kind of reached out again, and he's looking to do other shows. Just basically
Cool.
we're just trying to.
Has he done Men's Health Unscripted yet?
I don't think so, but that's one thing that we've.
He should do that.
Yeah,
one.
and I reached out to the guys as well, and I
Fucking Cam.
trying to get them connected. But yeah, basically that's his mission too. Like Carlo wants to share as much as he can with other people, right?
Yeah.
And he actually told us that he has, or told me that he has some other podcaster guests that we could probably connect with. So
awesome.
So we'll definitely do that.
I mean, I don't care where anybody is.
Yeah.
We're all going through the same shit.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
all of us as men are going through the same thing, whether you live halfway across the world or you don't. Fucking hypnotist. Kevin, yeah. Fucking, that was such a fun episode. So interesting. I can't wait to go back to Vegas. And go to his show.
I hope we can do that. Yeah,
I haven't been to Vegas in a while, so I'm probably due. And I would love to go see his show. That'd be super fun. And meet him in person and shake his hand and give him a hug.
That's right.
I'd love that.
He was a great guest.
His story is different. We've had so many people share so many different stories, and
we did. Yeah, it was.
It's just so beautiful. I mean, having the Intergalactic Sauces guys on, that was a fun episode.
That was.
And it was super interesting. And who was the comedian teacher?
Pat.
Yeah. Pat was super fun.
He was
a fatherhood episode. We've really covered, and I think because it's you and I, we're going to cover the things that you and I
relate to. Yeah,
relate to.
Yeah.
We'll sort of easier seek out those things, those subjects or those topics. But I think they're all the same, and everyone's feeling the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that was a fun one.
Your buddy Brendan
was good.
Yeah,
he did great, and he was super nervous about it coming in here.
He was his story was also very heavy, and that was
a heavy one.
I remember throughout the show when he was talking about his past and how he was selling stuff to have less hassle for his family.
Yeah.
Man, I wanted to get up and just go give him a hug, because it's just, I'm so happy that he didn't follow through with it and got past that darkness.
Yeah, me too.
When we had Mike talked about his co-musician taking his own life.
Right. That was a dark one. That one took me a couple days.
And I know we're gonna get him back again because after we finished recording and we released it, he's like, man, there's so much more I wanted to talk about. So we'll definitely have him back.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think we've actually said on the show a few times hey,
we'll try to follow
a year
up
from now we should do a follow up. So maybe we'll do those in between. We'll do short follow up.
Yeah, or just do follow ups and then just release it all together.
Yeah, and so I think that if anybody listening to this feels like I do after having that experience with somebody, because really, whether you're doing the show, you're one of us, or you're listening to the show, when people are being honest and vulnerable, you feel attached to that. And so I want to follow up with some of these people, and I think others probably think about, I think about the people we've had on this show, not just when they leave and the show's done, I don't stop thinking about them. No, absolutely not. And we've been through something together. We've opened it up together, and so I feel a responsibility in doing that for sure.
100%.
And I didn't know, I didn't think about that when we first started doing this show.
Well,
I didn't think about the weight of it.
Because that's not something. You don't go into starting something looking at how hard is it going to be? I think for us it was easy to start the podcast because I had the equipment and
we were doing podcasting.
We've done a podcast,
so,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was easy for us to just start it, right? And we didn't think of the heaviness that comes with it. Yeah, we just sat down. Okay, let's do it. and didn't think about all the details. I mean, like, you know, I told you off the mics that I do want to focus on more marketing right now because as a podcast, like, you need to do that, right? Just to grow the numbers, and again, I don't want to grow the numbers for our gain.
No, I want more people to hear it.
That's right.
I just want more people to hear it.
If I mention it to somebody that I have a men's mental health podcast, and they're like, "Oh, that's a cool topic." Like, you know, I don't think it's as common out there. Like, I know there are podcasts, but there's not a lot.
And there's not a lot that, and this isn't a brag or anything. It's just honesty. But like, there's not a lot that do it the way we do it. No, I don't think so. Yeah, they and I'm not saying that the way we do it is the way to do it. No, there's a bunch of ways to do it.
I love
this is our way, like, and this is what we can. This is, to us, I think I can speak for both of us. This is the way we would like to do it.
I think so. Yeah, like, we feel comfortable
let it take
about
its
this.
shape. But like, this is what we wanted. Dag's episode, which I think was the last one.
Yeah,
unreal. Like,
or second last, I guess, but
whatever it was. And like, so like, I've been on a show with Dag before. I'd met him before, but I don't know him. And like, that was, again, one of those situations of like, it's setting. Focused on humor, not on reality. And like, having Dag in here, especially with my friend who's going through such a similar struggle to what he's been through, at the time that Dag came on, like, it almost seemed very, like, it was very convenient that those were happening. It was meant to be.
It's like meant to be, right?
Well,
have him on as a guest,
and like, and I love having Dag on the show. He's great. Tommy was great.
Yeah,
Tommy's episode was so cool. Like, it was.
He's awesome. Yeah,
he's such a good dude.
Such a chill guy. Yeah,
he's just a good man. And like, he just wants to be a good dad and a good partner, and like, it was interesting to talk to him. Man, we've done a lot of episodes.
Yeah, I think this is episode 30. So we had. So I think out of those, we had at least 20 guests on for sure. Like,
because
I know
40 hours
we've had
recording.
Yeah,
that's a lot of hours.
It is. Yeah.
Behind a microphone, talking to different people.
A lot of editing,
and a lot of you take on the 40 hours is my 40. Yours is like 60 or 70, but
it adds up.
Thank you for that.
No, I enjoy
as
doing
your co-host.
This.
I appreciate that you do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, cheers. I'll drink to that.
Yeah. No, it's another thing it's done. Is it's brought me and you closer together.
100%.
Our relationship has changed dramatically since we started doing this show.
Well, and just the fact, like, how, you know, like, some of my best friends are people that
Pass me the whiskey. We're celebrating.
We're celebrating. Okay. Some of my best friends are people that I've met, like, randomly. Like, my don't forget about me. Like,
I'll pour for you. That's fine. I'll pour for you any day.
You know, I've met you through another show, and you were part of that show, and I was just a listener.
Yeah.
And we just ended up, like, you know, hanging out, and started pretty much our relationship started on as a joke.
That's true.
Yeah. we kind of went back and forth, like, you know, calling each other's names and whatever, and like. But it was just all fun and games.
Like any good male friendship starts with abuse.
Yeah. One of my best friends that I was in a band with, Chris, like, we met back in 2005 when I barely knew anybody here on, you might remember this, winnipegbands.com forum. Okay, so it was literally.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Okay, yeah, so it was a forum for musicians to, like, hey, like, you put an ad, or, you know how forums are, you have different rooms, and like, you can post pictures of the gear.
Oh, so it used to be like, it's like the newer version of the little pull a tab at the McQuaid store. Like,
exactly.
We're looking for a guitar player for a metal band.
Yeah, but this was also like, you had literally like. You could find, like, looking for musicians, and then you had the genres. Okay, yeah. And then you had just gear chat, and then you had different rooms that you could go in and like kind of comment, post pictures and stuff, right? And so that's, you know, I was just like looking for a band, and he had a buddy that he played drums, and he had a guitar. I show up at his house. We had the exact same amp, and we're like, oh man, like, okay, I want to see your settings, like. Almost to like the number.
Really?
Like, we loved the same sound, crunchy guitar sound. we have the same influences. Like we were all agnostic Madball fans, like we love the same music. So we're like, holy shit, and we've become best friends. Like he was in my wedding party, I was in his wedding party. Like it was just like a complete stranger. That wasn't through my wife or through somebody. You know, it's just like, hey, what's up?
That's kind of where ours.
And
started.
So it's exactly how we've developed. And this show, like in a year, like we have grown because I've learned a lot from you and about you.
Me too.
And I think it goes the other way around. So I'm very thankful for this year, and I really hope that we continue doing this show for a long time.
Yeah, me too. I think like I look back at the path of our friendship, take the show out of it, and like where we're at as friends today and where we were a year ago before starting the show is totally different. Like just totally different. And I'm grateful for it. I'm so grateful for it.
Like it's weird because like I don't have too many friends where like if I don't get a message from you like in 2 days, I feel like, well, man, what the fuck, man? Like what's going on?
We do talk quite a bit.
We do, yeah. Sometimes it's just like, hey man, like hey boner or hey asshole,
boner or asshole, yeah. But it's good. It's
or
great.
Just send me a random picture of your drink. I love that. Like it's just.
Well, and I think that we like. We live the way we talk on this show. So like this isn't.
We're not fake. Like this is not an act.
This is just who we are.
Yeah.
Like it or don't, take it or leave it. I don't give a shit.
No.
But like, and nothing I have to say I think is any better than anything anyone else has to say. It's just I'm in front of the microphone, so I'm saying it. And like that's why I love when we have guests. I like when we do shows together, just the two of us too. But I love when we have guests because it's just like, it's not just me talking now.
That's right.
So now I love to hear other people talk. I love to ask questions.
Yeah. And you're really good at it too. Like you're really good at like listening and asking the right questions. I know I need to improve on that part because I tend to kind of just listen and
you get super interested. So what I love about it is there's this innocence about the way you do it. Like you get so enthralled with the guests that you're just in it.
Yeah.
And like someone's got to steer the ship, so like, I'm happy to do it, and naturally it just kind of worked out that way. But like I love that about you. Like you get so involved in the story that's happening that like you just bury yourself in it. And it's like we've done shows and you've been like, I don't even think I said anything. I'm like, you fucking basically didn't. But
exactly.
Like, you loved that episode and you loved that show and you loved the story. And like, which one was? There was one in particular where you were just like so into it. Was it Kevin's episode?
It might have been because his story was super interesting.
It might have been Kevin's, but I remember afterwards you're like, I don't even think I said anything. I'm like, you fucking didn't.
I'm just looking at like the list of guests we had. But yeah, I think it might have been Kevin.
There was one of them afterwards. You're just like, who was that listener we had on? That was super interesting.
Yes, his name was Keith. Yeah. Keith was really good. We also had Bretsky, our buddy Bretsky on, and his story was like
he wore a towel for his shirt, so that's weird. But like aside from that, and his story actually is again inspiring and heartbreaking.
We had my buddy Chicken Man Steve that I played hockey with. So that was a great episode. And we had Scotty Dangerously.
We did have Scotty.
That's right. He talked about the ADHD.
Talked about his ADHD a lot. That was actually really eye opening.
Yeah.
I knew fucking nothing about ADHD before we did that episode.
I
knew what it was, or at least I thought I knew what it was.
I thought I had ADHD, and that episode confirmed that I probably have ADHD.
Oh yeah. And so that was actually super interesting. Like it was, again, this person we kind of knew.
Yeah. Like we hung out maybe a few times, but like
you go from like casual acquaintances or strangers to like
really knowing the guy.
I know I know what's buried deep inside you. Mm-hmm. And it's just, and we do that in an hour. And like, I feel a lot of pressure about that sometimes.
And then we had Westwood.
Yeah. Troy came Westwood on.
So, and with Troy's episode was really interesting. And I've heard some feedback from that episode. And
can I speak openly about that episode?
Yeah, I think that's what we got to be honest.
I fucking hated it. We're doing it,
and it's because people open up as much as they want to, and we can't force anyone to open up more.
I do always feel like I put that on myself.
Mm-hmm.
If we have an episode where I don't think somebody felt comfortable enough to swim in the deep end, I feel like I didn't do a good enough job as a host to bring that out or create an atmosphere, an environment where they wanted to. Now, I could blame myself for that forever.
Yeah,
we've also done a ton of episodes where people have, and so it's probably not. And that was early on.
Yeah,
I would handle the Troy Westwood interview differently if we did it again today.
Well, maybe we can have him on again.
If we had him on today, I would handle it very differently.
And we can play him this bit. I'd be just like, dude.
I wish we never released that episode, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting thing. It's another thing to think about. Like, we as men not all men are ready to swim in the deep end, are ready to open up, are ready to be vulnerable. And like, Troy actually does some amazing things he just didn't talk about. And so maybe it's a level of humility that he has within himself that
could be.
He doesn't want it to come off like a brag, and I understand.
Well, because people in Winnipeg know him as he is the Troy Westwood from the Blue Bombers. Yeah.
So like, I know he does these amazing things for his community, for people, for the
100%.
city. And he just didn't talk about those, and we didn't really get into those, and so maybe that's my fault. Maybe he didn't want to go there. He had never met us. Like, who knows, right? But if I had him here today, I would do it very differently. Yeah, and so
maybe
I've learned some lessons over this year too, like about talking to people and how to interview people, and
I think we're gonna have Troy Westwood on again because he's really good friends with Glenn.
Yeah,
and I chatted with Glenn about that episode, and he kind of suggests like, well, maybe we can come together on the show,
both on.
and then just kind of go from there, because Glenn is also, he loves talking and he knows him, so he'll know how to
get it out of him. Yeah, for sure.
So
maybe I think Troy has a really interesting story. We just didn't get it.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah,
we're not going
to. And also, like, we're learning. We learn to. I think, if we go, let's say, 10 years from now, we'll probably be able to extract that information easier and better if we continue to do what we do right now.
And I always feel like our episodes we're growing. Like, we are growing as podcasters, as interviewers, as men. We're all growing together in this, and so we've had a year now to grow, and like, it's changed. Our last 5 or 6 episodes are very different from our first 5 or 6.
100%, yeah. So,
and it's not about the people we have in here to talk with us. It's just about our ability to. We've learned. We've grown, and
we've evolved.
I've been so grateful to have this as an outlet and have this as something we do, and I really just want to keep doing this. So like, we're gonna have another year ahead of us.
Oh yeah,
like, no question.
No, and like, we're not gonna take a break or anything. We're just
gonna keep going.
We might skip in a week or two in the summer, but whatever. Yeah, we've mentioned that last show, so but yeah, I'm looking forward to this year. It's going to be challenging, just like everything is. If it was easy, then everyone would be doing it, and everyone would be successful, and that just doesn't make sense.
How life works.
That's right. But yeah, so we'll go from here. We'll see what happens, and I already have a couple guests lined up, and those are gonna be interesting stories, especially one of them. Yeah, it's gonna have to do. I'm just gonna give a little teaser. Abuse.
Oh, okay.
On the man from a woman.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's something.
Had any?
No,
of that
we
yet.
haven't. So that's something that barely hear about that.
Yeah. Well, nobody fucking talks about it. Interesting. That'll be an interesting episode. I'm
but
to hear about that.
But yeah, a little teaser for you guys.
So yeah. We got another year ahead of us.
Yeah. And I think this is a good time to wrap it up. This might be a little bit shorter episode, but before we go, because it's our 1-year anniversary, we're going to give away some prizes. So we'll do a
mug and a book?
We'll do a mug and a book and a book. So, yeah.
So for those of you who heard our Glenn Damon episode, he actually is an author. He's written a book. He's working on another one. I would tend to ask him, fucking when is it coming out, Glenn?
Because it's called When, right? Yeah.
But this is his first book. We're going to give away one of those and a mug to somebody. So what do they have to do?
You know what?
Send us a message.
Yeah, when this episode comes out and you guys hear this, send us a email to quietriot@gmail.com.
Sweet.
That you want the book and the cup or the mug.
I love it.
And then when we receive the emails, we will do a draw, and we'll draw a second person, and we'll get just a book. We have an extra one. So,
I love it.
And they're all signed by Mr. Glenn Damon. And so just follow us on Instagram and Facebook, the Quiet Riot at Quiet Riot Show. Send us a message. Share it with your friends and family if you like.
Please share it.
Actually, one thing I wanted to bring up that one of my highlights of this year was a lot of females actually reached out, saying how much I love your show and I will tell my husband about it.
Yeah,
and that's great.
And females should listen to this.
Absolutely,
show. Women should listen to the show.
Yeah. So that's I kind of love it. So love it that's
we want
happening.
Ideas for the coming year. If you have topics you want covered, you have commentary, you have anything, we want to hear. The show is not just about us. No. The show is about everybody who hears it. And so what do you want to see? What do you want to hear? We look for guests. We search out guests. We sometimes they fall in our lap and it's great, but that's something we work on. And so if there's something that we haven't covered or you want to cover in more depth or any, we're always open to input.
Absolutely. All right. Cheers.
Awesome.
Cheers to 1 year.
To 1 year.
All Quiet Riot Show episodes have been recorded and produced by SuverMedia. If you think you have an idea for a podcast but don't have the space or proper equipment, please visit SuverMedia.com for more information. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please hit the follow button and leave us a review if the platform you are listening on allows you to do so. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Quiet Riot Show, and follow us on the Instagram page at Quiet Riot Show. Please share this episode with others that may be interested in these topics. If you know anyone that would enjoy these topics, feel free to share our podcast with them. Also, let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch with us in the comments on our channel and social media, or send us an email to quietriot@gmail.com.